Welcome to the Proper Scoundrels podcast. There's old Ned. I see him.
He's peeking out from nowhere. He's in the Christmas tree.
He's got that Christmas spirit, dude.
Dude, he was such a star last time. He's back. He's like, I'm totally gonna be on this podcast.
I love some Ned, man. Have I got to meet him yet in person?
I don't know if you
I don't
had or
think
not,
so.
because he stayed on the ranch there in the Carolinas quite a bit. Yeah, life was just kind of weird. I didn't bring him to work or anything, so
You should have, man.
you know, hindsight. Definitely hindsight. How are you?
Good. I'm good. I'm a little tired, but not bad. What about yourself?
About the same. Good full day today at the work and came home hungry like a hostage and had a good carnivore meal.
Are you doing the carnivore?
No, just
Okay.
like one of the new book that I'm listening to was talking about the benefits of nutrients that are found in the skin of the meats and the cartilages and things like that. And I was like, I freaking love wings. I'm gonna go grab some wings real quick and cook wings for supper tonight. And so
Was that what you were using as an excuse just to get wings, or what?
I don't need an excuse. I'm an adult. I am a freaking grown up. I can eat wings every night.
I'm a grown ass man. Hell yeah.
I know. Come on, bud. Come on. You want up here? Come on. I know you're
So
gonna get
I kind of lied on the last podcast when I said what my next book was. I started Shifty's War. It was about Daryl Shifty Powers from Band of Brothers. And I read his book, and that was a really good book. It only took me like 3 days to read that thing, and it was awesome. Or listen to it rather, but such a great book, man.
Yeah. So I started The Genius Life. And it's talking about the connection of health and longevity.
Hmm.
And so
I think I'm gonna start Ishmael next. After you said that, I got that on my queue, and I might give that a whirl next.
I all right, buddy. You got don't fall. Go on, get up. Yeah, it's an incredible book. Like, even if you don't buy into the philosophy of it, still a great read.
Yeah,
So,
I'm gonna see what it's about. I'll be done with Shifty probably going to work tomorrow, so I'll probably start Ishmael if they've got a little audio tomorrow.
right on. Right on. I think tomorrow I've got something I'm supposed to be doing, but I think I'm gonna like go into the city near me and ride my skateboard and spend some time outside.
You got a skateboard, or are you talking about your one wheel?
Yeah, the one wheel.
Okay.
If I say one wheel, people automatically think like a unicycle, and that's a different kind of toy. And so it's like I just say my skateboard, but I haven't been riding for a while. So the weather's supposed to be nice. It's supposed to be relatively warm. So I'm just going to go and ride for a while. Maybe there'll be other people out. Maybe there won't. Who knows?
I need to check the weather. It's been kind of shitty up here past few days, but my job kind of depends on me checking the weather, so I need to see what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's the new year. What
Yes.
kind of I think we talked about this, and I think it'd be a great idea to talk about things this year that have gone really well. What are some big wins for you this past year?
So one of the big wins was I started a job I never thought I was going to do, but it turned out I really love it. That was like probably the big win, and that was really, I've always been kind of scared of change, especially like really stepping into the unknown. And I think that was a huge win for me as far as personal development. Is just taking that step and being okay with where I go. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. When I was preparing for tonight, I was going back in my memory, which is like riding down a bumpy road on a old Jeep. I can't. What was last year? What was last week? What was my childhood?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was wondering if you started that job this year. I was like, was this the
Yeah.
year or did he start last year? And he's traveled through, and I couldn't remember. So I'm glad for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm approaching my 1 year anniversary. I interviewed like January 3rd or January 6th. It was a Friday. I remember that I interviewed on a Friday, and then the next day I got my offer. Then they sent me to the New Hire Academy at the end of January, and then February 1 was my first patient interaction in that new role. So
Outstanding. Outstanding. Still very proud of you for that, man. I was really a little bit surprised when you said you were going to pursue that, and uh, but I knew you would just absolutely kill it.
I don't know, man. I was so scared at the beginning because I had an interaction with that 5 years ago, and I was like, I'll never do this job in my life. And yeah, have you ever wanted something so bad that you're like, I am determined I'm going to make myself like it, whether I do or not. I just have to experience it.
I think I
That's kind
did
of
that for about 20 years.
really.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah. I think I had a career that all my life I really, really wanted. And I worked really hard to continue to want it until I let it go. And then it was like done. And
really.
have not considered going back to it at all, even though I'm still kind of in the arena of it. Yeah, I never uh, don't think I want to dabble in it anymore.
Wow, that's a
Yeah,
cool realization to make, though, man.
it was hard fart. It was a hard fart. Yeah, it's some shit. It was some hard fault feelings, and I really kind of had to come to terms with it because I don't I don't think it was where I really belonged, but it's what I really wanted. And so I did it and I did it well. There's
You
some
did it
accolades
extremely
and
well.
well, there's a lot of people who did it better. There's a whole lot more people who did it a lot worse. And but I because I was there, I grew into what I am now. And you know, I don't look back on it at all, but I would like you to talk a little bit more about that, to that feeling of wanting something and making yourself love it.
Yeah. So, um, long story short, I'll never tell you where I work at, or I'll never tell the audience where I work at, but I do critical care stuff on helicopters. I'll blanket it with that, so you kind of get an understanding of like the thought process about it. Is that fair?
Yeah. Yeah. I
So,
wasn't going to breach that. So,
yeah, I don't think I can explain it without just saying that, right?
yeah.
So I am a flight provider, and um, years ago, right when I first got my paramedic license, I ran a call we ended up flying the patient out, and we did that a lot. We use air assets all the time, but I was talking to the nurse, who's actually a really good friend of mine now, and she's like, "Have you ever thought about it?" I said, "Absolutely not." And she was like, "Well, why don't you just do a ride time with us? Come any day you want." So I did, and I looked up to these people, pun intended, right? Like, I really did look up to them as far as their capabilities. But when I got on this helicopter that day, we did two flights, two patient flights, and I hated it. I hated flying. They had me facing backwards because on the Bell 407, seating is limited, especially when it has the patient configuration. And we're bumping along, and I was cramped. It was hot. Just, I didn't like it. Um, so I was like, I will never do this. And I've always been a fan of education, so I signed myself up for a flight medical provider course. And the monkey got on my back, and I was like, there's something in me that's like, I need to do this. And keep in mind, I hate roller coasters. I hate that shit with a passion. Don't get on roller coasters. Never have to worry about me dying from a roller coaster crash because it won't be me. Um, but I was like, I am going to just do this. I really felt like that's where the Lord was leading me. So I had a really stable job. I was an officer at a fire department, uh, and I was doing really well with that. Um, but it was enough of a feeling to where I told my chief, I was like, hey, this is what I feel like I need to do. This is why I'm leaving. He was super supportive about it. Um, but I just like, kind of went full feet into it, and I got hired and I did it. And I found out I really liked it. So I think all that saying to say this, if you feel strongly about something, when the monkey gets on your back, like you've got to satisfy that. Um, and it is 100% okay to not be comfortable and to think I might fall flat on my face, but if I do, I can fall on my face knowing that I did it, you know?
Absolutely. I was Winston Churchill that said there are so many people who will criticize the fighter, but they'll never get in the arena to fight, or
Oh, that's
something to that
great.
extent.
That's great.
And there's, I know of a lot of people who have pursued flight work and have never made it, or got into it and failed, because that's not like a typical EMS or interfacility transport work. They really are judging you on your performance and making sure that you are providing the best care possible, because there is a layer of panache and expectation, even, that when you call for the angels to come down from the sky, that they are going to be a higher level of care. And I've never known anyone who was deficient that got or maintained a job in a flight situation. So I absolutely agree with you there. And I have always told people your dreams are not, they're they're not irrelevant. Pursue that. You
For
know,
sure.
will you make $1 million doing it? Only if inflation keeps climbing and $1 million is equivalent to a lot less. But um, I know personally, as your friend, that I am so incredibly proud of you.
I appreciate
And
it.
yeah, absolutely. And especially considering, when we worked together and you left because you were like, I don't like this at all.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to see you now that you do like it and you're thriving. Yeah.
Well, back then, and this will be a great podcast for like the mental health aspect of it, but like I was going through some shit back then, man. And I really didn't know how to function because like I was starting to get anxiety about performance and stuff, like
Mhm.
um yeah, that back then was a really bad time, really dark.
We have those dark days. All of us do. And
Yeah.
it's wonderful to be in the light with people, because we all know, like, you don't get to where we are without some of those dark days, without some of those questions, without some of those instances where you sit there and you're holding something important and it's like, did I do the right thing?
Oh yeah.
It doesn't feel like I did the right thing.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's
for sure.
definitely a big win for the year.
Yeah, for sure. Um what about you, man? There you've got a lot to unpack yourself, bro.
Yeah, not, but yes, I've been thinking about that for probably the past 24 hours. I think for whatever reason, I couldn't sleep last night. It was a beautiful night for sleeping, but like at 11 o'clock at night, I'd woken up. So I'd go to bed and I woke up and it's before midnight. And I'm like, oh, that's lovely. And I was sitting there. And so a big win for me this year was moving back to the home front. And I didn't really know if I would ever come back here. And I don't really know if it was the right decision.
Really?
Yeah. I kind of thought that I could come back here and I would reconnect with my old friends and I would have my old community back. But the entire reason I left here was because I had poisoned my life here, uh, typically with alcohol. And so I left to heal from that. It's like I can't get and stay sober or healthy or whatever you want to call it if I'm still in the same place with the same people who are doing the same things.
Understand that.
So, one of the big reasons that I left here in the first place was to recapture my health and to get control back on that. And when I came home, when I came back, it was it was a little bit sad, I guess, because one, either people were doing the exact same thing that they were doing when I left, or two, they expected me to be the exact same person I was when I left. And I don't say that to be gloomy or to be like, oh, woe is me. I'm sitting down here by myself. But it's it's been educational and absolutely uplifting to see that some people have grown, even if that means that they grew away from me. Uh, but it's also some people have not grown, and so I can look at myself and see how I have.
Hmm.
And so I still think it's a win. There's still a lot of exploration that's happening here. There's still a lot of who am I and how do I become who I am, and that's a really cool thing to do, especially with the wisdom of where I came from.
Yeah.
So I'm cultivating something. I don't really know what it is yet, but it's I got my hands in the dirt.
There was that I don't know what movie it was off of, but it was that sound on TikTok. It's like I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow. And Robin Williams said, well, that's exciting. That's really exciting if you really think about it. Um, there's so much stuff to do, man. And I know you're not the same person that left up here to go back. I can see that there's a difference, and I really mean that. That it's a new you, bro. Like, um, and it's okay to leave some old habits in the past.
Oh yeah. I I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, I'm this sober warrior that is not failing ever. Because I guess I relapsed sometime recently and just got shitty drunk and felt terrible for like 4 days. I was like, God, I am not that young man anymore who can do that. And but like as I was recovering from that, I'm like, I absolutely know why I made the choice to get back to health and to get healthier. And and I think since that day, whether it be penance or some sort of punishment I've put on myself, I've been working really hard and I've been feeling really good in the gym and been really focusing on diet. And it's amazing how much better I feel through that discipline.
Good, very good. And alcohol will do that to you, man. Like, it'll do that to you in a heartbeat. Like, I don't think I've had anything to drink in a month, and that wasn't like like somebody said, like, dude, you've got to stop. Like, you're drinking way too much. It's just I felt like just stopping for a little while. And I've never been a drunk per se, but I just kind of stopped on my own, and but I'm not saying that like I'm never gonna have a drink again because I probably will. I absolutely will. I just don't want it right now.
Yeah. And I didn't like go to rehab or to a 12 step or any kind of program or anything. I just made a decision that this is destroying me. This is destroying everything about who I am. And I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah,
And so it was completely about, I recognize I'm in a really bad place. And if I stay here, it's not getting any better.
yeah,
And so I've still, have had drinks and I still drank alcohol, but nowhere near like I was when I left. And very rarely do I actually kind of crest over that hill into drunk town.
yeah,
I mean, when I left here, if there was booze in my house, it was very fresh.
yeah.
And uh, I actually finished the bottle of bourbon that you gave me when I moved here.
Really, it lasted that long?
Yes. Yes.
That was what, 4 years?
3 or 4 years ago. But you have to understand with something like that, that was a gift from a friend.
Yeah,
So it could only ever be enjoyed with a friend.
right.
And so um it was not until I got back here and I was talking to my best friend Matt, and you know, we poured it. He absolutely loved it as well. And so I was like, yeah,
Great, great.
you know, that was a great way to finish that bottle off. And on Sunday afternoons I like to mix up a little drink with some juice and get all kind of Caribbean and beachy and sit out on the deck and watch the ducks fly in. But um there's you know there are far more days that I drink nothing harder than sweet tea than there are days that I drink any amount at all.
Hey, sweet tea goes hard sometimes, man.
Not mine. Mine's
I have
nice and smooth.
I haven't had sweet tea in a long time.
Well, a couple months ago, uh, I guess October, the office that I work at uh, needed me to step into a new role. And I'm one of those people that I will take on these historical um, moments to change things, because I'm like, everything else is changing. Why not this too?
Yeah,
Just throw it all into chaos. Why not?
send it.
Yeah, yeah. Just let it eat. And so, well, yeah, it was in October that I started training for a job that I'm absolutely not qualified for, that I've never had any experience with, and today I was training somebody else how to do it. And so November 1st, or the first Monday in November, I went from one role to working in this other role that I had never had any exposure to. Most people take a couple of years to get to a level of functionality with it, and I did it in a month. And in that month, yeah,
That doesn't
and in
surprise me at all, man.
that month, I quit drinking soda, and I was very much addicted to Coke, mainly Diet Coke,
What kind
but
of Coke we're talking about? And
not the
Samoa.
smell good kind. But yeah, no. And it's really interesting because I've been, watching a lot of things about nutrition and about health, and diet soda is probably as addictive as cigarettes. The
Oh,
chemicals in it, yeah, the chemicals in it hit
that's
certain
all I drink.
receptors. Do what?
That's all I drink.
Man, I had to drink a non-diet soda one day, and it felt like syrup going down my throat, and
Yeah,
delicious syrup, mind you. But yeah, it was harsh. I was like,
yeah.
please, Lord, get me back to the Diet Mountain Dew. And then at some point, I transitioned from Diet Mountain Dew to Diet Coke.
Mm.
And, looking back, there were days upon days that if fluid came into my body, it was in the form of Diet Coke.
Mm.
Yeah. And it's like, wow. But yeah, so I haven't had any soda, but I do brew my own tea, and I've got my little sugar to mixture just right, where it is not bitter, but it's not syrupy.
Oh, that's great.
But I only like one kind of tea, and sometimes it's kind of hard to find. So I end up having to go to like 3 different stores to see if they have this specific Lipton Southern Sweet Tea blend. And that's it. That's all I like. I tried some other ones, and oh my God, it was like drinking dirty brown water. Yeah.
Dirty brown water. And that's
Yeah.
the thing, like I used to drink tea all the time, but like if I went to a restaurant and you ordered it, you did not know what you're getting, you know? So that's what kind of got me off of the whole tea thing. Like I'll still like tea, but I have to have mine super sweet, and I know that's not good for me, so I stay away from it.
One of the things I did was I started using the golden sugar. It's less refined than the Dixie crystals. And from what I've read, and I'm not a scientist, I wouldn't say that I've done my own research, uh, that it's a lot easier for your body and the insulin to absorb that sugar, to gain some energy from it, and then let it fly.
Yeah, I'm very simple. I mean, it's just like giving it to diabetic patients, something really
Yeah.
sweet to get their stuff up.
Yeah.
What so last year or this year currently was a year of first for both of us and some pretty big leaps. Um, what's next year looking like?
So I am really kind of focusing on my health. And, it's so cliche to do that at the first of the year, but I've got a lot of things changing in the right now. Uh, I've
Have
gone
you
through the
started
process.
your GLT?
I
Have
thought
you
it was going to be, Yeah. So you were asking if I had gotten my TRT started. I was
Yes.
ex- I was expecting it to be here in the past week, and it did not come. And I guess that's because of the holidays. So I'm hoping that it will be here tomorrow so that I can start that on, the first of the year as we go into a brave new world. And um, if not, I guess I'll just start it on like the 5th. I don't know. I don't know that it will matter. It's not like I'm going to jab myself and immediately become, as beautiful as like Garen Thumb or something. I'm just,
Oh God.
yeah, I'm just,
The
yeah, the man crush of the year.
oh boy.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I do want to start that. And I really want to focus on changing the food that comes into my mouth. I really want to get away from processed foods. And so I'm really, I think that as a goal for the month of January is to eat only foods that are the ingredient. Yeah, not going to eat if the ingredient list is more than the food itself, then I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't know how far that will go because I really like organic Cheetos. So do the dogs. They know that bag. When they see that bag, they're like, "Oh, we are going to get some cheese puff goodness." And but things like breads. I love breads. I love pastas.
Oh yeah.
Uh, but they're incredibly processed. So unless I can find some that's made super simply, I think for January at least I'm gonna have to break those out. Another like a big goal I have for 2025 is I want to save $10,000. Not
Awesome.
like not spend $10,000, but actually add $10,000 to my savings account.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. And I have really bad habits of buying shiny toys just for the fun of it.
Yeah. I saved up some money not too long ago and I just spent $1,600 on a new gun, so I get it.
I don't need a new one.
Yes, you
I
do.
No, I don't. Like I literally was there's literally a gun in this house that has never been fired and I've had it for more than 2 years.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I've never sent a single slug through it.
oh man.
Yeah. And there I think there's another gun here that I have never shot. I had a little T-Rex in another place, a little small arms dealer. And bought one from him, I think because he needed the money, but I also kind of wanted it. So I told myself I was doing something for a friend, I was helping a buddy out.
Yeah.
And but I don't think I've ever shot it.
Is that the same T-Rex I'm thinking about?
Yeah, I'm certain that it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked to
Gotta
him
pay.
the other day.
Yeah, gotta pay him for the pizzas to get him off the front porch.
Yeah.
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 That's an
I remember,
inside joke. For any of those of you who don't know, the way you get a Marine off the front porch is to pay him for the pizza.
he used to call me and be like, "Hey man, I got X, Y, and Z for sale," and I'd be like, "All right, let me think about it," because I need to think about it solid for a little while. So I thought about it for like 2 hours. And I called him back and I was like, "Hey man, I'm interested." He's like, "Well, I just sold it to Jeremiah." I'm like, "God dang, dude!" Like,
And a different Jeremiah, not me.
we were talking about you.
Oh wow, which I wonder which that's probably the one that I've never shot.
I think it was a trigger that.
I never bought that. I never bought a trigger
Okay,
from it.
okay. Well, never mind then. Carry on.
I think that might have been the other Jeremiah, actually.
It had to be.
Yeah, because
Because he's
yeah,
looking
it's
at shit too.
he tried to sell it to me, and I'm like, well, where's the rest of it? I mean, like, I want the whole thing.
Oh, he's a
Yeah,
nice one.
yeah. So, what about you? What is on your New Year horizon?
Whew. So uh, we're building a house right now, and I hope it'll be completely done before May. Like we'll probably move in if everything goes good March, but like I really hope it'll be done before May. So that's a big deal. Um, I'm gonna be focusing on my health still. Um, I think I'm gonna really start trying to do some type of cross training in the gym. And I know we've got a podcast about that coming up, but not CrossFit, but do something that I'm not doing now. So I want to do that, and then I want to kind of, I don't know how to say this, but like prepare my fighting position better. Not just like my house per se, but like keep stocking up on what I'm doing. Make sure my little preps are doing well, but just making the homestead a lot better. You know, not
Mhm.
an actual fighting position, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Absolutely. Like, do you have a garden, don't you?
Yeah.
And have you started canning?
We didn't can a lot this year, but I do have a lot of canned stuff.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of that lately, and I'm really envious. And I tried to grow some peppers out in a pot on the back porch, and it did not go well.
So this is gonna sound disgusting, but candied chicken is like probably one of my favorite things. Because the chicken stock you have to put in it, um, whenever like you get done canning, it tastes just like butter. Like it is so good. And you've got these like little birds in the jar, like
Mhm.
they're gonna stay good for years. And that's awesome.
I have heard about that. It is still, I'm like, I just don't know if I've eaten canned chicken. I've gone and gotten canned chicken. I've had canned tuna, and it's so I understand that something can still be good long after it's fresh, but it's one of those things that I'm like, I just don't know about it. Gotta
Oh, dude,
try it, I guess.
yeah. Next time I'm down that way, I'll bring you a can. Like it's awesome. It really is. Um,
Yeah.
and it's super healthy for you too, man. And like, there's nothing like getting back to your primitive nature. Like, uh, those chickens that I've got in a jar, they stopped laying eggs, and it was their time. They have fulfilled their one obligation, and um, now they're going to feed me. When you stop laying eggs, it is game on.
There's no rent being paid. You're gonna get eat.
We just can. Matter of fact, I lied. We just canned three more chickens within the past month. I had this rooster. His name was Wallace. We named him that. If you ever watched Hangover Part 3, um, I had a rooster look just like Wallace off the Hangover Part 3. So um, one day I watched him attack a hen, and then I turned my back and I come back around. He done killed this hen, like almost. She had almost died, but there was no like coming back from that. So I killed her, and then I went after Wallace. We took off running, and he could not outrun some perfectly timed bird shot. And so now Wallace is in a jar, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's the way
Can't
it
be
goes.
killing other chickens, man. Can't do it.
Yeah. There will be peace here, even if I have to kill you.
Exactly.
Yes, that is great. That is fantastic.
Hmm.
Hi, Ned.
Is he
I'm
back?
not going to.
I see that nose.
Yeah, he's back up here. He's like, you haven't paid attention to me in 42 minutes. You must come back. I'm like, dude, I've not gone anywhere. I haven't moved. It's like I'm pooping.
Yeah, my dogs don't follow me in the bathroom. They're scared of the bathroom for some reason. Probably because that's where they take baths at.
Well, yeah. So, like, typically every weekend on whichever day is going to be better, they get a bath. And they, I guess they know when it's bath day because they're like, you're going to have to catch me first. You're going to earn this bath. You're going to earn. But they both love it. I have one of those little rubber brushes.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they just get it. They're just like, oh, it's the best
Yeah,
thing ever.
both of mine hate it. Like Delta, he looks like you done killed his puppy. Like he looks so sad. He's just trying to escape. And then Zulu, he just looks sad, but he sits there
Mhm.
and does his thing. And then they love getting like the towel put over them, and they like getting brushed off. But they're so difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so it sounds like 2025 is going to be a year of prep and health.
Yeah, pretty much. Um, I think one of the things I'm going to do that's on like a easier term is I want to do 2 books a month. I want to read 2 books a month or listen to 2 books a month. Um, Thinking about starting college again this year, so that's cool. Uh, I've got a bachelor's degree, but I want to get another one, so I might start that again. And yeah, not too bad. I've got two football games I've got to go to.
Just to.
Yeah,
That's all.
got the University of Alabama versus the South Carolina Gamecocks. We're gonna go see them in Columbia, and then I've got to go to Tuscaloosa at some point. So I'll be back in October.
Yeah.
I might go down for the Tennessee game just to see the carnage that ensues with that.
Yeah, I don't keep up with football. I'm not opposed to watching a game, but I don't keep up with the drama of it. And uh, recently, recently, I don't know what's happening. Um, Somebody was trying to explain to me that like the old king of college football has died, and there is no new king.
Correct.
And
It's weird now.
yeah, and so it's like, well, maybe that's what should have happened all along.
You know, I don't know. I've got issues with it, and it's not just that um, the old king's off the block. It's not that. I think an education's not what an education used to be. You talk to somebody from the older generation about having an education, and that was like a really important thing. Um, Now you've got these people that are getting degrees and just to say they have one, right? But they're not getting anything out of it. Like when I got done with college for my bachelor's degree, I felt smarter. Like I really felt like I got something out of it. Uh, my writing is a lot better. My communication skills is a lot better. Well, depends on the day. Some days my redneck comes out, but like a lot of things improved off of that. Um, so I don't know, paying players to play football is cool, but like let them get that in the NFL. Like let those guys go out the NFL, UFL, the XFL, whatever FL, they want to play in. Like, let them do good in school and then go over there to work. Don't I don't think we should be paying them. We're giving them a degree for free. They're going to school, whatever school they're going to, and they're getting an education for free. Like, let them actually get an education, but I would not be paying them a dime because they don't. I hate to say it, they don't deserve a dime. That's
What
my
if
rant.
they're paying for it and they're like a walk on and they're not getting any scholarship dollars, but the school that they're playing for is making millions upon millions of dollars on this one specific program that they make better.
So here's my thing: if you're gonna play, if you were good enough to walk on the team, they should be good enough to say, "We got you, brother." Like that should, like all these kids that uh live in the hood or live out in the country and they don't have anything. Like let them make them go practice and be good at a sport. They get good at the sport. Like you're gonna go to the University of Tennessee, you're gonna go to Texas, you're gonna go to Duke, and we're gonna pay for your education. Like I don't know, like that's my personal thing. And yeah, I know the school profits, but I think that's okay. I don't know, man. Like,
It's hard. It's hard, man, because like I I have been watching this vehicle bubble come to a tight stretch, and it's starting to burst. And very popular vehicles have become so expensive that they are now spending almost a year on lots in America,
mhm,
which was unheard of 5 years ago.
yeah,
So in 2020, you would not find a 2019 on a lot past March. Come March, April, that would be about the time that they would start working on the pre-releases for the 2021s,
hmm
and they would start hitting lots by fall. And so all you had was 2020s. Now there are F-150s that have been on dealer lots for 280 days,
oh
which in that
wow,
in that business, that's insane. But during COVID, when the supply just suddenly stopped and the dealers just threw the price way up, and they thought it would always be that way. And to help illustrate this, a friend was looking at a Ford Lightning, one of the electric F-150s. And in May of this year, that vehicle was over $100,000. It is on the website right now for $74,000.
oh wow,
Yeah. And it looks like uh, Stellantis and GM are about to go to the government for another bailout,
mm,
which, if they do, that means that individual dealers can go to the government for a bailout.
mm.
Yeah, it's about to be chaos in the car market.
What year was that they did that before the General Motors got bailed out? That was during the Great Recession, right? Or this past recession
It
in the
was
Obama
not in
administration?
2008. Yeah,
That's
it
when
was
the thought
not.
it was.
2008 was the housing crisis. And I want to say it was maybe 2012, 2013, somewhere in that time frame. Um, that the dealers, the manufacturers, they were like, hey, if we fail, the ripple effect is going to be felt forever. But the video that I sent you a couple nights ago, it's so interesting how cars got so expensive. We know somebody who was paying over $1,000 a month. I think his monthly payment was like $1,100 for a car that was nice, but it wasn't $1,100. It wasn't like a Rolls Royce or something. And right now, the amount of repossessions is over 25%, and it's never been that. Never. And so it's crashing down, and it all stems from car dealers worked with sketchy banks to get loans on cars that people could not afford. And every car was super expensive. And instead of the bank saying, hey, we will loan you the money for what the car is worth, they were saying, we will loan you the money for what the dealer is selling the car for.
Mm-hmm.
And so now there are just a lot of missiles falling into the financial world from this. It's very interesting.
So, for the record, the vehicle recession was 2008 to 2010 per Google.
But when did the buyout or did the bailout happen?
Let me find out. December 19th, 2008.
Huh. I was off by 4 or 5 years.
This was a part of the Troubled Assets Relief Program, or TARP. They received $13.4 billion plus $4 billion to be withdrawn later.
I really feel like if a manufacturer takes a bailout, then their CEOs, their chief executive officers, should not be paid for that year.
100%. 100%.
And I'll go even further to say that if GM says, hey, we're going to go to the government for a bailout, but to show how dedicated I am to making this work, I'm going to repay my executive salary and my bonuses for the past year, because I'm not going to let you sit here and say that I took money and still lined my pocket. So I would get behind that, but they won't do it. Greed's a bit.
All the CEOs of any corporation, look at hospital CEOs. I mean, it's the same way.
Yeah.
The same way.
Yeah. Well, it is New Year's Eve, and we are creeping upon a new year, and lots of exciting things happening. It's going to be really exciting. What would you say is a goal for 2025 for this podcast, for these conversations?
That's a great question. I don't know. That is such a good question. What do you think?
I would really like to see one, of course, the subscribers go up. I would love to have more subscribers, and we could literally double our we could double the amount of subscribers we have if we reached out to 2 of our friends. we could get 100% increase in subscribers with 2 friends. But
speaking about,
I would like to see it grow. I really enjoy these conversations, and I think they're valuable to have.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking about that, something that's in the works now is I got a friend of mine. He's actually one of our pilots at work. Me and him was in the gym working out the other day, and he was talking about fitness, and I was like, hey, why don't you come on the podcast? And he was like, I would love to. So I need to coordinate with him one day, but to get him on and just he's got a unique perspective on things, and he's kind of passionate about fitness. He's wanting to kind of be an influencer about it. I know that's a dime a dozen, but I think he would do good with it.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I would love to have more voices join us about any topic that is relevant and useful.
For sure. For sure.
Well, great talk. I hope that you stay safe on the ground and in the sky. Continue being that angel.
I'll be there tomorrow, so we'll see. It's man,
Uh,
I'm telling you what, it's been a crazy past few shifts. Like we've been doing so much stuff, and it's it's a lot.
yeah, that's awesome. I sit in mediocrity.
No, you don't.
Oh, yes, I do. I do the exact same thing over and over and over again. And I really feel like it's a respite because I feel like I need this time to kind of collect and to kind of focus. I don't know how long it will sustain me.
Hmm. You know, I think you do a phenomenal job of being humble, but let the record show you are 100% the mentor I needed when it comes to the profession that we're in. You know, you were 100% that person for me, and can never thank you enough because you really pushed me to do better and not be stuck like uh, the rest of the populace is. You know, so good job for being humble, but I gotta let the record show that.
Well, I appreciate that, but I'm going to turn it back on you that there's absolutely no way I could be that without other people wanting to take those steps to be better. So I might have known some tips and tricks that you had not learned yet, but you gave me an opportunity to put them out there, to refine them, to teach them. If we don't have peers and if we don't have equals, especially in the practice of emergency and critical medicine, then there is nothing good going to come out of us. But, I talked about this last week. I really feel like sometimes we're stifled by other people's opinions of us. So to give me the opportunity to say, hey, let's do this way. Let's explore this. Let's, to
Hmm.
have that arena where I could do that really put legs under me. And, if you don't have good people, you won't be a good leader. You won't be a good anything.
For sure. And like you went, I think you went and said it last podcast, but if you're not training your replacement, what are you doing? You know?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Uh, because we can't do it forever. And, I'm a lot closer to the end of career than you are. And you've already, exceeded where I have been. And
I I really don't see it that way.
you
The
were
only
you were
Go ahead.
doing the things that I learned. There's other so if we take away the delivery of how we get to where we are, uh, then yeah, I've done more. But you also have to understand that I came from a generation where we still had people that we were having to convince to wear gloves. And, because we back in the early days of all this, man, it was a badge of honor to come in just totally destroyed with somebody else's stuff all over you. And when I got into it, there was more times where we had to focus on getting people to do things like wear appropriate PPE than to start thinking about what's the next thing that happens in the body once I've put this drug in it.
Mm,
So I think it's fantastic to see where you are and to see how much more advanced you are than I was at the same year level.
I can understand that.
And so,
You know,
and that speaks to the industry at large, to emergency
100%.
medicine at large. because it used to be that the doctors were the only ones who were making any decision at all. And they finally figured out that you could train us and we could do our little part and we could get people from different little parts to come together and that would do the big parts.
I think the biggest takeaway that I've learned, especially stepping into this side of the profession, is the people I'm talking about, but like um, the bare minimum is accepted. And even if you don't even give the bare minimum, that's still accepted in some realms, right? In some small groups. Um, when you think of somebody that's a good paramedic, what do you think of? Do you think of that person that completes all their paperwork on time, that runs his or her, they them's calls, and treats patients? Like, is that like what we think of a good medic is, or do we think of somebody as something else? And I can't speak to every flight program. I'm not going to, but I can say the group that I have in my peers at the base level, not company level, the base level. Um, Mediocrity is not accepted. It is not tolerated, and it's dangerous. Um, we're constantly pushing each other to do better things, to learn more stuff. Like right now, I'm taking a tactical medic class. I am not going to go do tactical medic things, but it's a side of trauma medicine that I might not have thought about in a while, you know, and that's just what I'm doing on myself. Nobody's saying, hey, you've got to do that. This is what's expected. You've got to be on top of your stuff. You've got to be a pro. You got to be a professional. That's something DJ Shipley says, and I absolutely love it. Like, be a pro. If you're going to do your job, do it. Rob O'Neill is another guy that claimed to kill bin Laden. But he said, if you're going to be here, be here. I think that speaks to that.
Absolutely. Closing us out, I've really got to go, but I want to make this confession. I actually killed bin Laden with 50 grenades.
Did you?
It was me. It
It
was
me.
me. It was not me. I was probably drunk in my basement. I think I remember seeing that going, is he still alive?
That was 2011, right?
Oh, yeah, I
think
believe so. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I was in 8th or ninth grade when that happened.
Oh,
I think.
yeah. I think uh I think that was pre-Iron Man for me.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah. And so there's probably no telling what my fitness and sobriety level was at that time.
What year did you become an Iron Man?
2013, I believe. Maybe, yeah. I think 2013.
That's super impressive, man. That's so
You can
cool.
do it. All you got to do is buy a bicycle and a Speedo. You too can be an Iron Man.
Well, I've got to learn how to swim. I can't swim.
So, well, I didn't know how to swim when I paid the $1,000 to participate in the race.
You're shitting me.
No, no. I mean, I could put like a 12 pack of beer and float up to the rope swing, but I didn't know how to swim like people swim. I learned that in the year that I trained for Ironman. But it's funny now because that's something that I keep on my resume and like the little "this is who I am" section.
Mm-hmm.
I do have in there that I am an Ironman, and most people are just kind of look at it and they don't know what to think of it until you come across somebody who's an Ironman or who knows what Ironman is. And one of the uh, he's not the boss, but he's like a operating officer of some sort or another. He found my resume and he was like, he actually came to where I was and he was like, "Hey, you're an Ironman." And I was like, "Yes." He said, "You put it on your resume." I was like, "Yes." He goes, "How do you think that would benefit this organization?" I said, "It proves to you that I don't have a quit button. I have a finish button.
God, I love that.
Yeah.
That should be the that should be what the podcast is called. I don't have a quit button. I've got a finish button. That's what this episode should be titled. I love that.
Well, I think that's a very long title, but I will make that the title of this episode. It's like,
You can paraphrase it, right?
yeah, don't quit, finish. Yeah.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah. I think another goal for the upcoming year for the podcast is I'm going to learn how to do better. What do you call those things on the front page? The thing that people see when they're rolling down. So they don't just see our logo, they see a thumbnail.
Yes, thumbnail.
I'm going to learn what thumbnails are and how to make good ones. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that in January.
All you got to do is trim them up, bro. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like when we learned about book talk.
Yes,
Thing.
that was important.
We're going to do that. We're going to be good at this.
I like it.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody. If you made it all the way through with us, please hit that like button. It's somewhere down there, or, you know, turn your phone around or turn your phone on if you were just listening to the audio because you didn't want to find all the Easter eggs that I put in. And subscribe. If we get 2 subscribers, it will double our subscribership. Thanks, everyone. Hope you have a safe New Year's Eve. Hope you have a fantastic New Year. Hope you find something in the past year that was a win for you.
Absolutely. Put that in the comments.
I will. I'll put it down there.
No, them.
No.
You.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to learn technology. I'm going to learn how technology works. All right, bud. Great talking to you. Goodbye, everybody. Happy New Year.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.